Hi, I'm Desiree Jane T. Pignon from the Group 1 and we're gonna talk about balance sheet. To make it short, balance sheet is to know how we can minimize risk in terms of financial stability by evaluating resources. What is current asset and non-current asset? Current asset are those assets that has an opportunity to convert to cash. While the non-current asset, it is an entity that are not expected to convert into cash within single operating cycle or a year. Now, let's go to our agenda, our table of content. This material point that will be delivered in the presentation. We have 5 unique problems. For problem 1 and 2, we're gonna know what is the basic accounting equation. And problem 3, we're gonna know how to get the current asset. For problem 4, we're gonna know how to get the non-current asset. And for problem 5, we're gonna simplify the current and non-current asset by simplifying the 2 steps of solution. So what further ado, let's go to the problem 1. Problem 1. Given the data below, solve the missing value using the basic equation of accounting. What could be our step 1? Step 1. To get the total asset, we will know what is the basic equation. It is asset is equal to liabilities plus owner's equity. Therefore, we have 1,500,000 for liabilities, 800,000 for Honey's equity, and we're gonna get 2,300,000 for asset. It's so much easy, right? Let's go to the problem 2. Honey's company owes $369,436 in December and a total owner's equity is $145,528. Therefore, what is the total asset? For the step 1, still our basic equation is asset is equal to liabilities plus owner's equity. For the step 2, to calculate 369,436 for the total liabilities plus 145,528 for Hannah's equity, and we're gonna get 514,964 for the total asset of Hannah's company. Problem 3. The following data below are the current and non-current assets of Lexis company for the year end of 2023. In this problem, what is the total amount of current asset that Lexi have for the year 2023? For our step 1, identify the current and non-current asset. For the current asset, we have cash equivalents, prepaid expense, notes receivable for the short term, and accounts receivable. Step 2. After to identify, get the total amount of the current asset. For the cash equivalents, we have 23,467, prepaid expense for 1,999, notes receivable for the short term is 86,342, and accounts receivable we have 56,897. To get the total current asset, we're gonna sum it up and we're gonna have 168,705. Problem number 4. The following data below are the current and non-current assets of Alexandria's company for the month of October. In this problem, what is the total amount of non-current asset that Alexandria have for the month of October? Step 1. Identify the current and non-current asset. In this topic, Alexandria's non-current assets are goodwill, notes receivable for long-term, depreciation of the property, long-term investment, and deferred charges. Now, for the step 2, after that, to identify, get the total amount of non-current asset. Goodwill has a 6,744. Notes receivable for the long term, we have 4,999. For the depreciation of the property, we have 23,967. For the long-term investment, we have 500,000. And deferred charges, we have 892,137. And now, the total non-current asset is 1,427,847. For the problem number 5, within the financial holdings of Ethan's company, there are existing assets. In the data below, identify and compute the total amount of current and non-current asset that Ethan's company have. Step 1. Identify the current and non-current asset. Now, we're gonna identify what are the current and non-current asset of this Ethan company. These are the current asset. Prepaid expense is 2,399. Accounts receivable is 123,789. Accrued revenue is 126,221. And notes receivable for the short term is we have 4,555, which the total current asset is 256,964. Now, for the step 3, after to identify, get the total amount of the non-current asset. The depreciation of the property is 23,387. For the patents, we have 6,744. The long-term investment, we have 233,333. For the deferred charges, we have 345,927. Notes receivable, long-term for 1,999. And the total non-current asset is 611,390. Those are the 5 unique problems that tackled about balance sheet, specifically the current and non-current asset. Thank you. Hopefully, you learned something from this topic.